Welcome back. Until now, all we have done is preparation for the gameplay mechanic. In this video, we dive into the thick of things. So, the first thing we need to do is create a C++ class where the functionality will be coded. Now, if you remember from our planning and preparation video, we had a question about what class to use in the list of things to consider. So here we go, right? Should we use the pawn, the character, the level BP, a separate actor, or just the player controller class? The truth is that there's no right answer for this question. It depends on the scope of your project. That is how large or small your game is going to be, how you are structuring your gameplay systems, and what kind of game you are creating. For our case, we are going to use a player controller class because we need to change the controlled pawn at runtime. You can find more information about the player controller class in the Unreal Engine documentation. Here we go. Now then, let's create one. Click on the Tools menu, like so, and then click on New C++ Class option. It brings up a dialog box with various options in it. Now we need to find the base player controller class to derive our custom class from. So scroll down until you find the player controller option. Let's see, here we go. Select that and click on the next button. Okay. In the next window, we can name the class appropriately and then click on the create class button. So instead of my player controller, I'm just going to do a test player controller because we are testing it out. In the main game, you can rename your player controller to whatever it is that your studio asks you to do. For now, there's no need to click on public or private tabs at this point and for this tutorial, because we are not creating an engine module to be included in the Unreal Engine source code. Unreal Engine will add the code to our project and then it will generate the Visual Studio solution files in our project directory. It should all go smoothly. Just click on the create class like so. Let's see, adding code to our project. Hopefully everything goes well. Visual Studio icon is flashing. Hopefully everything should be done right about now. Excellent. Excellent. Now, if all has gone well, just open up your Visual Studio, check your project, expand the source, expand the character switch test, and you should be able to see your test player controller.cpp and test player controller.h. Okay, now we have created our test player controller class. You've got two options now. You can directly build your solutions from here, or you can go back to Unreal Engine and then click on this little button over here that will enable live coding and generate all the files needed. Okay, there we go. Live coding successful. Everything is done. We are ready. Excellent. Now, before we continue to the next part, there's one more thing that we need to do. We discussed this in our PowerPoint session. We need to modify the game mode BP. So, to do that, we need to click on the World Settings tab. However, if you do not see your World Settings tab over here, what you can do is you can go to Window and then click on World Settings. Can I find World Settings over here? Yes, I can. Just click on the World Settings and we've got World Settings right here. Okay, so in this, we need to start working on the game mode. Right, so just type in game mode, or you can just select the game mode over the right selected game mode, and then you can start editing these properties. However, this is a C++ project, so you won't be able to create or edit these properties from the game mode class. What you can do is you can create a BP, and then you can assign that game mode override over here, and then you'll be able to do all of that. So let's do that right now. Navigate to the third person folder under the content, double click on blueprints, right click in an empty area like so, navigate to blueprint, select blueprint class. Now instead of searching for our C++ class in this list, you type in character switch test game mode, and then just select that one and proceed. Now we have created our blueprint class for the game mode. We rename that to BP underscore character switch test game mode. Press enter, and now if you drag and drop this over here until you see the green check mark, you can see that we can now change all of these options and we can update our game mode. Okay, make sure to save your files, and now we can update our game mode. Okay, remember that if we have a third person character as our default pawn class, we will have 3 characters in our game. Do you want to check it out? Here, just start playing the game and you will see that we already have a third person character running around being possessed by our player controller. So to prevent that from happening, we need to change the pawn type. This is really useful because the tutorial is all about switching between 2 characters, not 3. So what do? We change the default pawn class. Now there are a range of classes that you can select from here. There's pawn, there's default pawn, there's paper character, there's just character class. You can check and experiment with all of them, but I recommend the default pawn class. Do you know why? It's because when you select the default pawn class as the default pawn and click on play, you will see that not only have you got rid of the third person character, but now you can see and fly around the entire level. This is quite useful when you want the player to see the area, like in puzzle games, what needs to be done and what not needs to be done, and then have your player characters, the 2 characters, switch between each other and then enable or disable the different elements in that puzzle game. Okay, it's a very useful feature. So now that we have done it, there's one more thing left to do. We need to update the player controller class from the default player controller to the test player controller C++ class that we already made. So once we have done that, everything is set, and we can now proceed to write our code in the class and update the game. See you in the next video.